When silence finally descended upon us, the aftermath of the confrontation lay palpable in the air. We approached the young man cautiously, our hearts still racing from the thrill of the battle. The horse, now embodying the fierce spirit of its master, snorted and pawed at the ground, instinctively protective. But at a gentle command, the boy impressed a calm upon his steed, and a smile broke through the tension on his face. "Easy, Blaze," he said softly, drawing near as we cautiously stepped forward. The flaming horse relaxed, its fiery demeanor dampening before our eyes. We gathered around the demon slayer, awe evident in our expressions, for in him we had witnessed a confrontation that could have engulfed us all. With the specter of death now vanquished, we were buoyed by the promise of hope and strength. For in that moment, under the flickering lights of his steed and the remnants of ash swirling away into oblivion, we knew we had met a guardian in a battle that would resonate for ages to come. The sunset cast a warm glow over the dense forest surrounding them, the air thick with the scent of pine and damp earth. Jiro stood at the forefront of the group, resolute and poised, a silhouette against the cascading hues of orange and violet. His presence commanded attention. He was no ordinary boy. The burdens of expectation laced each word he spoke, and the weight of every maternal gaze bore down on him. "You kids should know that demons like this one," he gestured toward the ethereal shape shifting restlessly by his side, a magnificent demon horse with deep obsidian fur and fiery eyes that flickered like hot embers, "must be tamed differently than others. Strong spellcasters have the power to control these types of demons, preventing them from going on a rampage in the real world." The seriousness of his tone underlined the gravity of his task. He was the second-born of his family, marked as the chosen heir, a title heavy with promise and responsibility. His fingers brushed across the worn pages of countless tomes he had studied under the flickering light of late-night candles, his mind brimming with ancient lore and strategies. The shadows clung to him like a shroud, but he wore them with pride. He had come to guide these young souls to Nezukarasuyama, a place whispered about in legends, where power twisted and turned like the roots of an ancient tree. A question pierced the moment's air, disrupting the reverence. Kazu, a boy with wild hair and a spirit bound to mischief, approached Jiro, his brow furrowed. He cradled his own spirit, a small creature reminiscent of a fox, over his shoulder. "Hey Jiro," he said, curiosity glowing in his eyes, "can you please explain something to us? How come you get a different spirit animal than all the rest of us? I only thought that spirits are only given to those with level 5 and up power, higher and greater than our powers put together. I was just wondering how on earth a demon horse is under your command all of a sudden." The group halted, a collective breath held as they sank to the forest floor, their attention anchored on Jiro. The serenity of the woods seemed to pause in anticipation of his answer, the soft rustle of leaves a reminder of the mysteries they sought to unravel. Jiro regarded Kazu with a measured gaze, his lips curling into a somber smile that hinted at the depths of his experience. Power is not simply measured in levels of strength. It is an intricate tapestry, woven from the threads of intent, understanding, and choices. A demon horse like this one does not bow to mere strength alone, it listens to the echo of the heart. Taming it requires both mastery and empathy, an understanding of its desires as much as one's own. As he spoke, the demon horse shifted closer, its breath warm against Jiro's arm. There was an intimacy between them, a bond kindled in the fires of his determination and nurtured through the countless trials he had faced alone. "This creature recognizes the commitment I carry, a pledge to protect and guide, to harness its power for a purpose greater than myself." The forest enveloped them in a reverent silence, the glow of the setting sun filtering through the branches, casting intricate shadows around their circle. Jiro's words hung heavy in the air, imbuing the young ones with both awe and inspiration. In that fleeting moment, as they sat together beneath the watchful eyes of ancient trees, they began to understand, this journey would not merely test their strength, but their resolve, compassion, and the bonds they forged along the way. Jiro stood at the edge of the clearing, his heart pounding as memories flooded back like a rush of wind through the trees. It had been a decade since that fateful day when he, a mere boy of 8, had faced a darkness that was beyond comprehension, a darkness that had stolen not only his brother but also the innocence of his youth. 10 years ago, the world had been an entirely different place. Within those crumbling walls, Jiro had clung to the only family he had left. Panic had racked his small frame as shadows danced in the corners of his vision, whispering secrets too chilling to understand. It was then that the demon appeared, a creature of nightmares, twisting and writhing in a form that defied nature. It had set its sights on his brother, dragging him into an abyss where Jiro could not follow. I can't lose him, the boy had thought, fear coursing through him like ice. In that moment, he resolved to wield the power of his ancestors, a power that had long since faded from memory. With shaking hands, he recited the incantation known as the Holy Grail. The air crackled with energy as he summoned forth his spirit animal, a formidable steed wreathed in flames, embodying the very essence of his desperation and hope. This horse was unlike any other, its fiery mane flickered and danced as though fueled by the very air around it. Jiro had struggled to control the magnificent creature, but with the demon lurking close, he had no choice. When that malevolent force lunged at them, Jiro summoned an attack that resonated deep within his soul, channeling the flames into a brilliant burst of light that sent the demon scurrying back into the shadows. Since that day, Jiro had been marked. His survival, entwined with the spirit horse of flames, made him an anomaly in a world where such encounters were whispered as folklore. Yet, whispers had become a legacy. His ancestors scoured the lands, searching for a similar beast, a horse of flames of steel, a creature that could grant them unimaginable power. They believed that with such power, they would command destiny itself. Jiro, the voice of his companion broke through the fog of remembrance. We should start moving again before it gets dark. The urgency in his words was the same as it had been that fateful day, a reminder that the night was treacherous and full of spirits that hungered for lost souls. Jiro's throat tightened, he could still feel the remnants of fear that came with the setting sun.
As he gazed at the intricate puzzle of symbols etched into the bones of the demon horse, Jiro pondered over the mysteries that still lay ahead. He could sense the depths of power within the creature, but its true nature eluded him, just as the memory of his brother lingered just beyond his grasp. Together, they had battled the horrors of that night, but Jiro now stood at a crossroads where shadows loomed, and the weight of the past bore down heavy upon his shoulders. With resolve, he turned his gaze toward the encroaching darkness. Time was slipping through his fingers, and with it, the chance to unravel the mysteries that bound him. "Let's go," he said, taking a deep breath that smelled of damp earth and impending storms. He mounted his fiery steed, the warmth of the flames radiating against the chill of twilight. The journey ahead was uncertain, but he knew one thing: the spirits of the night would not claim him. Not yet. As the trio ventured deeper into Hiroshima, the air felt heavy with an unspoken tension, a mixture of humid heat and an oppressive silence that seemed to drape itself over the city like a shroud. Crumbling buildings leaned wearily against one another, their facades whispering tales of days long past. The streets, which should have been bustling with life, lay surprisingly vacant, save for a few vendors huddled by their carts, hoping to coax nourishment from the few passers-by moments estranged from their homes. Haiku, with his usual exuberance dampened by hunger, suddenly halted in the midst of their march. Dropping to the ground with a thud, he clutched his stomach, its low growl echoing through the stillness. "Hey, I'm hungry," he pleaded, his eyes wide in earnest. The sight of his disheveled fur, matted and lacking luster, reminded Ikaru of their long, exhausting journey ahead. In acknowledgement of their growing hunger, the group continued onward, moving past shadows of once vibrant shops now cloaked in disillusionment. It wasn't until they stumbled upon a food cart, adorned with an array of colorful, tantalizing dishes, that hope flickered back to life. Mouth-watering, Ikaru murmured, his voice barely rising above the gentle hiss of cooking oil. The cart featured a scattering of heavy griddles, each laden with okonomiyaki savory pancakes bursting with flavor and fragrance that wafted faintly towards them, beckoning them closer. The sight was a feast for the eyes, vivid ingredients melding into a glorious canvas of culinary artistry. May we all order 8 okonomiyakis, please? Ikaru's tone was firm yet polite as he approached the vendor, who smiled through tired eyes, clearly accustomed to catering to weary travelers. As each steaming pancake was handed across, the camaraderie among the 3 friends deepened. They gathered in a small circle, hands trembling with anticipation. Without hesitation, Ikaru took a piece, the warmth radiating from the pancake a comfort in the damp air. He raised it to his mouth, and as the first bite crossed his lips, a wave of unexpected delight washed over him. The flavor exploded, a delicate dance of umami, pleasant, that warmed him from the inside out, nearly bringing tears to his eyes. "There's enough for all of us to share," Ikaru declared, casting glances toward Haiku and the third member of their group, both equally captivated by the food before them. The moment was precious, this brief respite from the solemnity of their quest. In a city cloaked in ghosts and the weight of forgotten strife, they found solace in the simple act of eating together, a momentary escape from their burdens. And in that moment, amid the lingering shadows of Hiroshima, their laughter echoed softly, a promise of solidarity as the path ahead unfurled into the unknown. After our meager meal, we resumed our journey, shifting our focus to the next destination that lay ahead. The bustling streets of Hiroshima faded into an eerie calm as we approached a hidden sanctuary concealed among the cherry blossoms, a temple known as Matakidera, aptly named 3 Waterfalls. Its 2-story vermilion pagoda towered impressively against the backdrop of the brightening sky, housing within it a solemn statue of the Amida Buddha. This sacred site, transported from Hirohachiman Jinja in Hiragawa, served as a beacon of spirituality, drawing worship seeking solace and guidance. The scent of cherry blossoms hung in the air, a delicate reminder of renewal and fleeting beauty, their blossoms fluttering like whispers of the past. Yet, beneath this serenity lingered an unspoken tension, the necessity of sacrifice to appease the gods and keep the restless spirits at bay. Some warned that even in this protected place, the specters of the world still dared to intrude. Our footsteps carried us along the pathway lined with cherry trees, branches heavy with blossoms, when a sudden crack shattered the stillness. The sound echoed ominously, a thunderclap of panic as a throng of people surged past us, eyes wide with fear. The atmosphere thickened with an unsettling energy as we turned to face the source of the commotion. From the haze emerged a figure, a spirit swathed in dark, rolling smoke. An Enra, it was called, a spirit born of despair and shadow. It moved relentlessly toward us, an unyielding force that sent a chill racing down my spine. My amulet, a sacred relic passed down through generations, pulsed with an intense glow, reacting to the malevolence that now drew near. The spirit locked its gaze upon us, and I felt the weight of its stare as an icy dread settled in my chest. "I'll handle this, Ikaru!" The shout shattered my fear. Haiku leaped from my shoulder, a flash of golden fur and vibrant stripes that ignited with an electric energy. The spirit animal, my protector and guide, embodied courage born from the depths of the spirit world. I didn't have to command my friend, his instincts kicked in as thunder crackled around him, a harbinger of the imminent confrontation. With an agile bound, Haiku charged, drawing upon the storm as he launched himself forward. The power emanating from him rippled through the air, the battlefield awakening beneath us. As he barreled toward an Enra, the clash of light and shadow converged, 2 forces destined to collide in this moment steeped in ancient magic and present danger. Time itself felt suspended. The world around us faded, the temple, a sanctum of peace, stood as the backdrop to this epic struggle. In that instant, I knew our fate was intertwined with the spirits of this land, and our resolve would determine whether light could outlast the encroaching darkness. Chapter 2, Haiku versus the spirit in Enra ***.